Okay, so yesterday we mentioned Birkat Cohanim. We mentioned the Tshuva of Chacham Ovadia in Yechaveh Dat that speaks about a Kohen that is a soldier and he killed terrorists. And the question was, is he allowed to go to Birkat Cohanim? And I thought about the fact that Parashat HaShavua was talking about, last week, was talking about Birkat Cohanim, that we should speak a little bit halachot that the Kohanim should know. That I see, the reason I'm mentioning is that I see Kohanim make a lot of mistakes when they do Birkat Kohanim. Some of the mistakes are such that that make the bracha invalid. They invalidate the bracha. So it's very, very important. For example, I'll give you an example. What I see that many Kohanim do is that when they pick up their hands, it says in the halacha that it needs to be in the Shulchan Aruch. He brings down in Kuf Kafret. He says that the hands needs to be on the level of the shoulders. If it's lower than the shoulders, the bracha is no good. Some Kohanim are not able to pick up their hands. They're weak. Let's say elderly or sick people, they can't pick up their hands. So they shouldn't say Birkat Kohanim. If they can't pick up their hands, they can't do Birkat Kohanim. But I see young people, like, they come up and they hold their hands under the shoulders, and they don't know, obviously. So it's worth mentioning. By the way, according to the Kabbalah, the hands needs to be not on the levels of the shoulders, but rather on the levels of the head, the peat harosh over here, the sides, the sideburns. So it needs to be picked up a little bit higher than that. The Or Letzion has he explains that a way to understand both the Kabbalah and the Pshat is not arguing. But regardless, whatever it is, according to Kabbalah, it needs to be the level of the head, definitely not under the shoulder. Now, what happens many times, especially in the Shabbatot and Chagim, you hear the Chazan mechazen, and he stretches and he says, in length. And not, it's exercise to hold your hand like this for a few minutes. Not everybody can hold their hands like this for a few minutes. And Chazit, you have to be considerate to everybody. Not everybody can do.
And the holiday.
The holiday. So yes, so sometimes they stretch it. So some people enjoy it, but not necessarily that the Kohanim enjoy it. Not necessarily the Kohanim enjoy it. I saw one time that the Kohen was very angry afterwards. He went and he screamed at the Chazan. Lemaise, you need to see who's there and how long they can hold their hands, and really if they are. Sometimes in the holidays you have a lot of Kohanim. You have to be considerate. Okay. The Shulchan Aruch also mentions that the right hands should be a little bit higher than the left hand. Why is that? Because it says in the pasuk Vayisa Aaron et yadav without yud. So you read that yado. Vayisa Aaron et yado. He picked up only one hand. You read et yadav, but it's written et yado. So which hand should be lifted higher than the other? Normally the right, because normally we give more chashivut to the right hand. How about the fingers? It says in the Shulchan Aruch that you need to do 5 windows, 5 avirin. That's what it says in the Shulchan Aruch. Why? It says mashgiach min hachalonot, matzitz min hacharakim. So that's 5. What's the 5? Between the fingers, you divide them 2 fingers. That's 1, 2, and you have on the other hand that's 4. And between the 2 hands, when you put them together, that's 5 windows. On each hand you have 2, and between them you have 1 more. That's 5. According to the Kabbalah, it's not like that. According to the Kabbalah, you have to stretch all the fingers. All the fingers, you don't divide them, and therefore you have 5 airs in between them. That's the 5 windows between each and that. That's what it says. Matzitz min hacharakim. What's hacharakim? With a hey. Hey charakim. 5 charakim. That's according to Kabbalah. Again, the Or Letzion, his shita is throughout the Sfarim is to try to work out the pshat with the Kabbalah, that they're not really arguing. We can work out both. And he says that you should do like the Mekubalim, which means open all 5 fingers, but give a little bit more space when you open between the 2 and the 2. Yeah. So this way you also work out the Kabbalah and the Pshat. By the way, according to the Pshat, you'll have to have your hands together, as we're explaining. But according to the Kabbalah, it doesn't have to be like that, but one hand on the right, one hand on the left. That's why you see sometimes people hold it like this, and they don't do like the Shulchan Aruch says, but that's fine because the way we explain. Now, the palm of the hand should be downward to the ground, but the fingers themselves a little bit lifted to the tzibur, to the ceiling, a little bit lifted higher. So that's the way you'll have your hands when you do the Birkat Cohanim. Very important to have that the Cohanim normally do, but the Kahal needs to know that more. Then it needs to be panim keneged panim. One needs to face the other, just like a bracha. What happens with a bracha? When a person gives bracha to another, obviously he does it panim keneged panim. He stands in front of him face to face. He doesn't give bracha when you are giving him your back. By the way, in Kabbalah, it's one of the concepts of Kabbalah that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he gives the shefa, when he brings down the shefa, he brings it with his face towards the people that receive the shefa, but those that are reshaim and they don't deserve the bracha, they don't deserve the shefa, they still need to get, otherwise they're not going to be able to exist, to live. They'll vaporize right away. People can't live in the world without the shefa of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They get somewhat. So how does HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives it to them? So Kabbalah explains it in such a way, like HaKadosh Baruch Hu throws it to them in his back, which is what we're explaining right now. It's not panim keneged panim. Important to mention that as well. During the week when you do Birkat Kohanim, do you take off your tefillin? We have on that, you have to. What you have tefillin in the morning, right? Sfaradim do Birkat Kohanim every day. Ashkenazim only do on the holidays. That's it, on the holidays, not Shabbat, except in Eretz Yisrael. They do every day. But what we said before about the Kohanim stretching, also Ashkenazim stretch very much. They don't do chazanut. But between the 3 brachot, they have like a song that they sing, like a tune. La 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 la. You have to go sometimes. It's very nice. It's very nice. La la la. So the poskim say that if you can't keep up your hands like this, you're getting very tired. In between, like they say, lie, lie, lie. So you take off your hands. You shouldn't, but if one can't, at least at the time that he doesn't say the bracha, he could take down the hand. Okay. So what about tefillin during the week? You do Birkat Kohanim. Should you take off your tefillin so you can? That's a machloket. That's a machloket. Kaf HaChaim brings down Lemaise Arav David Yosef. In Halacha Brura, the Rishon LeZion, says that the minhag is to take it off, to be machmir, to take it off. That's what he writes. To be machmir, to take it off, which means just to take off those parts over here, which is crucial for the tefillin, by the way, because when you wear the tefillin, the halacha is that it needs to be put on the arm, and mi'ikar adin, it needs to go all the way down without rolling it on your arm. You just go all the way to the finger and you roll it around your finger. That's me'akev. That you have to have. The rolling of the finger, that's later on in the Geonim. But if you don't have, the tefillin is not, you have straps that you, let's say, got ripped, and you can't fix it right away in the morning, so you can just stretch it, you tie it, and you take it, some say that you make one, you go around once and you go to the fingers. That's me'akev. So over here, when you take it off, you need to realize. That's why, for instance, halacha, interesting halacha, is that before you put it around your finger, you shouldn't talk at all. Afterwards, you can talk, but beforehand, you can't talk. So if you hear Kaddish, for instance, you try to put it right away very quickly. This is how Rav Chaim Nai brings down in Ksot HaShulchan. So he says over there, I think, to be machmir. It's not, but that's the idea that we're saying right now, that since it's ma'akev, this is part of the tzura that one has to have the tefillin on. Yeah, what about the bracha? Kohen says the bracha. Should he pick up his hands, Nesiat Kapayim, before he says the bracha or afterwards? There's a machloket in that also the Kaf HaChaim brings down. Some say that it needs to be after because mevarech over le'asiyatam. First you say the bracha, then you pick up your hands. You can, if you pick up your hands beforehand and you say the bracha afterwards, you reverse the order. But the Maise, it's a machloket. Again, Rav David Yosef writes in Al Chabura that the minhag is to say the bracha to say the bracha after you pick up your hands. You pick up your hands and then you say the bracha. One of the important halachot that we need to know about a Kohen is that it's very important that he should not hate anybody in the congregation, and no one in the congregation should hate him. It's very, very important. That's why the Chachamim established the bracha, shetzivanu levarech et amo Yisrael be'ahava, with love. This is something that the Zohar and Sefer Hasidim and many say that it's dangerous for a Kohen to say the bracha, to say the Birkat Cohanim, if somebody in the Kahal he doesn't like him or doesn't like somebody in the Kahal, and if he has such a person, so two Kohanim that mochel each other, that could be fine for them to go up together. That's true. But in the Kahal, it's very, very dangerous, and therefore a Kohen that has a fight with somebody, hates somebody hates him, should get out from the shul before they call the Kohanim. Now, it says in the halacha like this, אין מברכים אלא בלשון הקודש ובעמידה בנשיאת כפיים ובקול רם. Also, what does it mean בלשון הקודש? You can't say it in other languages. Other things you could say in other languages. לשון הקודש only in that language because it says כה תברכו, in the way that the Torah writes it. בעמידה because it says לשרתו ולברך בשמו, to serve Hashem. What does it mean to serve Hashem? It says לעמוד ולשרת. The Kohanim would stand and serve Hashem. So you see that Shirut is withstanding. Siyat Kapayim, as it says, Vayisa Aaron et yadav el ha'am vayvarechem. So you see Vayisa Aaron et yadav. And Bekol Ram, because it says, Amor lahem. Amor lahem is Bekol Ram. One needs to say it in a voice that people can understand, can hear. If people can't hear, let's say one that lost his voice, he's not allowed to say Birkat Kohanim. He's not allowed to go and whisper if people can't hear him. No one says you just need to have at least 9 people listening to him. But if you don't have at least 9 people that can hear what he's saying, he should not say the bracha. He should avoid saying the bracha. He can't say the bracha. Ben Ish Chai brings down that there's a chiyuv to go on the duchan. Now over here there's no duchan. But the Ben Ish Chai says that one should go on a high stage, like you find in many shuls. There's a little bit high stage that he goes and says the Birkat Kohanim. If you don't have, I guess you don't have that. But that's how it should be lechatchila. Obviously, one should take off his shoes. That's halakha pshuta. Should take off the shoes. There's 2 reasons that's brought down in Chazal. One that doesn't want to take off the shoes, it's a problem. Rav David Yosef is melamed zchut on such people. He says that if they're not going to say Birkat Kohanim, if they don't take off your shoes, it's better that you let them say it with the shoes than to avoid saying Birkat Kohanim. Okay, that's part A. Meanwhile, it's already time to daven.